Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tool versus Tool, brought to you by Startup Show San Diego. And here today, as always, we have the two experts that bring you Marketing Mondays at Evo Nexus. We have Randy and Chris. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Doing
And
good.
so what they do at Marketing Mondays is it's an hour packed of tactics and strategies, but they just don't have time to go in depth about all the tools. So today we're going to do another deep dive and compare two different tools. And we'll discuss who should use it and when, because everyone's at different levels in their business. So we should figure out which piece to focus on now and how do I use it. So today is all about outsourcing. We'll be looking at Upwork and Fiverr. So we'll go ahead and let the experts start talking about it. So have at it, guys.
Sure.
All right, Chris, why don't you go ahead and start into this, Chris? And just to preface this, guys, so you kind of know, as mentioned, Chris and I have a lot of these tools, and we're really going to dive deep today. But the tool we're going to go in today is really, we're going to talk about when you would use these tools, where your company would be at what stage. And really, when we face them off against each other, a lot of time is really using the right tool. It's like when do you need a flathead screwdriver versus a Phillips is really kind of what we're going to go into today. So with that ado, I'm going to let Chris there kind of open up one of the tools and we'll start talking about it.
Sure. So as any good entrepreneur, you end up doing everything for the company. You end up wearing a lot of hats, right? You're emptying the trash, but you're also making logos or doing some coding that you never thought you would have done before. You are hiring. You are doing everything. Well, it's impossible quite to do everything, and sometimes you need an expert to help. Sometimes you don't need to hire this person full time. You just need them either for a project or on a part-time basis. There are ways to hire individuals on a part-time basis using either Upwork or Fiverr. And what's great about this is not only can you hire them for a project or a part-time basis, but you oftentimes are paying lower than the typical wages in the United States. So sometimes in Upwork, you can find an individual with sophisticated software experience that you can hire for around $10 an hour, or let's say maybe it's more like $20 an hour, whereas in the United States, it might be $120 an hour. That's an example. Or a graphic artist that you might be able to pay $100 to get a web page designed instead of $400 or $500 or $600. So that's the general concept. We're going to show you two tools. Fiverr and Upwork are the most popular. There are others, but these are just the most popular that we're going to show. I am about to share my screen. And
while you're doing that, Chris, let me kind of pipe in. So Chris was mentioning these people could be located anywhere. A lot of times, too, you can find people in the States, if that's your preference, that are just starting out in their careers that have some really great talents. That if you've got a senior like doing graphic arts, as Chris mentioned, you might be paying $75 to $120 an hour, where you can get somebody that's fresh out of a graphics school or just starting their graphics career and get them for about $20 an hour right here in the States. So I just want to mention that this is a worldwide service, but you can source within the U.S. if that's what your choice is.
Right. Fiverr was started, and it looks like my system's taking a little bit time to upload. But Fiverr was started, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago. It's been around for a long time. The concept behind Fiverr is that you can pay $5 and get anything done. Well, that doesn't mean that it's only available for small projects, but it is primarily built to handle small projects. So one of the things we talked about is what tool is right when. Well, Fiverr is the best tool specifically for smaller digital marketing and or graphic projects typically, okay? So you simply can go into Fiverr, you can search for the type of work that you're looking for. Let's say you can see I'm mousing over graphic design. You can find logo designers, illustrators, people that does do book covers, presentation design. You can see also digital marketing. So people can help you with web analytics, SEO, mobile advertising, writing and translation, video animation, music, voiceovers, etc., programming and technology, advertising, other business virtual assistants, and fun and lifestyle. The majority of people that I know, and the majority of how Randy and I use it, tend to be more in the graphic design and digital marketing, mostly in the graphic design. So you can post let's just take for a second that you're looking for an illustrator to draw some, maybe there are buttons or some kind of illustration to go on your homepage. You can go to the illustration section and search for the kind of illustrator you're looking for. You can see here, for example, you can see the cartoon graphics of this kind of illustrator versus the right-hand side, a completely different kind of illustration versus this guy with the orange background, right? Very different kinds of illustration. So you can find the type of illustrator you're looking for. You can see their work right on screen, and then you can click on the button right on the right-hand side to get started. You can see this person's basic illustration, which is one character, black and white, 2 revisions, high resolution in PNG file. And you can, for $5, get an illustration done. Standard, meaning a little bit more, you're going to get 2 characters, full background, colored, not just black and white. That's $15, or you can go up to premium. You can see what they have to offer right here. You can see this person's type of illustration that they do. Pretty good stuff, right? For $15, you can get some pretty good work done. And to order, you simply click on the order button. You connect with this individual. You pay them $5, and I'll tell you what, the majority of times you will not only get a response back saying, how can I help you, within an hour, but sometimes you'll get a full illustration back within 24 hours. Extremely fast. Not always, but many times. I think I can show you, let me show you an example here. Sometimes what we'll have is we'll have pictures or graphics on our website, and we just want a little tweak to it. So for example, here we have images, like the illustrations here, and if we just want to tweak the illustration, rather than going and hiring an expensive illustrator on an ongoing basis, we'll go to Fiverr and we'll upload what we want done, and in 24 hours we have our illustration back and on the website. I don't see the actual illustration here. You can see some of their designs. That's how Fiverr typically works. It's extremely fast, very inexpensive. Now, there has been one illustrator in specific where hired her to do some cartoon illustrations. My wife loved it so much, she reached out to that individual and said, can you do my children's book that I'm writing? I want pictures, 25 pictures. She made a deal with that illustrator, and in about 2 weeks, she had illustrations for each page of her book. So there's an example of how you can use this use Fiverr. By the way, that individual that she was working with was based in Ohio. Okay. Next is Upwork. Upwork as well has been around for a long time. There was also, they merged with another company called Elance. They're doing much the same thing, but I find that many companies, including Randy and I, tend to use it for 2 things. Number 1 is for anything engineering or software related. Number 2 is we tend to use it for finding people to help with research. For example, research and what would you say, Randy?
Kind of what I would add to that, one of the things we've used this for, Chris, in the past is building databases. So we've actually had somebody help us build a database for less than I could buy the names from one of the top 5 data providers in the U.S. And we've had very, very good success with that because not only do they build the database, but the information is all verified and current. because they're actually checking it and making sure nothing's out of date. Where when you buy a database from a database provider, it can be as high as 10% of the records are bad. And all the database providers will tell you that. They only give a 90% max rate on the data you buy. So for every 100 records you buy, 90 could be accurate and 10 could be inaccurate. And you think about it, if you're doing a mailer and you're putting postage and printing postcards or something, those are wasted pieces of print. So for marketing wise, this really maximizes your benefit. We've had very good success. To give you an idea, we had a project where we had a gal, we gave her the parameters, gave her a test to do, she passed the test, and she was able to build 400 directly related, high targeted people in our database per week. So in a month, we had 1,200 possible clients or prospects we could go after that fit the company. And that is pretty good compared to what you go out and purchase on your own. And so for a startup company, that's very, very inexpensive to do, and a quick way to build a quick database if you have just a few customers and you know the geo-demographics that you're looking for. So that's just one example of how we've used this before. Go ahead, Chris.
Another thing that's quite interesting is sometimes when you're hiring individuals and you don't know who they are, you're wondering if they're really even working on your project and how much time they're spending. Are they taking advantage of you? Upwork gives you the opportunity to take a look at how much time they're actually clocking and even see screenshots of what they're working on. For example, on January 30th, we hired Natalie, and she was helping us right here with some projects. You can see she's typing an email right here, and she's helping us with inventory and inventory tracking, and that is all tracked in the Upwork system. That ensures that you're paying for work that is actually being done and you're not overpaying, which is really interesting.
Yeah, Chris, one of the things I could add to that, the way this kind of works, think of it like having a virtual manager for the people you hire in Upwork. That's really how the Upworks platform was built from the beginning when Chris and I first started using it, and they've enhanced it over time. So it's really like having a virtual manager. So you are managing the project, but you've got a 24/7 manager, as Chris said, showing email transfers, showing screen capture, showing how long it takes from one piece of the project to the second. So you can see how quick they are at solving the problems you want to solve.
The other thing that Upwork has that I think is a lot easier than Fiverr is the ability to go back and forth in a very easy messaging system. So you can, I clicked here, it just takes a little while, I get a slow connection. But here you can see my communication with each of our quote unquote virtual assistants. Rosalina helps us with graphic design. Manthan is a software programmer. Grace is our research and database expert. So we are constantly communicating back and forth. Then within each individual, you can see that the individual has a profile in which they get rated. So you can see if this person has a high star rating, and you can see examples of their work. You can see this person happens to have a high job success rated. She's top ranked. She's worked 524 hours on the Upwork system. She's earned this much money. She's had this many jobs. And then you can see what people say about her. You know, working with Rosalina is straightforward. She picked things up so quickly and skills, blah, 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 blah. So you can know a little bit more about the person before you're hiring them, feeling a little bit more comfortable.
And let me kind of add to that, Chris. I think this is important because you and I discovered this when we first started using this for a lot of startup companies, is even though this is a great system and there's a lot of people available, what you'll find that you'll want to do is try several people out in a certain category, like a graphic design. You might want to hire 2 or 3 at a time, and then you'll find out who the best one of those 3 is, because Chris and I went through, and we have to go back to the beginning, Chris, quite a few people before we found Rosalina, Grace, and the experts that we found working well for our kind of projects. So what you think about this, it's a worldwide network, and you need to vet out people, even in this system, even though there are reviews. we would encourage you to do your own vetting process to get the best people. And then when you get them, keep them busy, because if you keep them busy, they'll work hard for you and know that you're going to provide them with lots of work.
When you launch a job spec, we'll just create a dummy one here real quick. Help with website programming. Say, I have a coding error. Can you help me? What you can do is you give you a name of your job post. You give a little bit more description, more than what I just put here, by the way. You can attach a file. Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll do a screenshot of what I'm trying to do. You can even, let's say if you're doing graphic design, you can hand draw something and scan it in and upload it here. Then you say if it's a one-time project, an ongoing project, or if you're not sure, let's just put one time. If you're hiring one freelancer, if you're hiring more than one freelancer for the job, I'm just going to put one freelancer. What kind of skills are necessary? Are you looking for a graphic designer, or are you looking for engineering? Let's say you want engineering, full text search engines, let's just say. Or you can type whatever you want. How would you like to pay? Would you like to pay by a fixed price or by the hour? Say you want by the hour, and then you can choose how much you want to pay. Let's just say we're doing intermediate. Let's say it's less than a 1 week project. You don't know how much time is necessary for the job. Then you can select here. This is the interesting part. You can say whether or not you're looking for freelancers on the Upwork system plus more so that other search engines can find this job, or you're only looking for an Upwork user that can find this job, or if you already know somebody that you've already seen in Upwork that you really want to have look at this job, you can do this. Oftentimes, if you don't know anybody in Upwork already and you haven't done a lot of search, what you can do is you can say, I want if I have Upwork users find this job. What will happen is that Upwork users will look at your job or task and they'll submit a proposal to you. And it's almost like it turns into a job search for them. So they're going to tell you why they think they're great and why they think the best person for the job. And they'll even compete on price to try to lower that price so that they can get the job. You can add additional qualifying questions if you wish, or qualifiers like where they're located, how much you want to bill, etc. You can add additional screening questions, and you can even require a cover letter if you wish or not. And then you simply post the job. I'm not going to post this one right now. I'll do this. I'll post the job real quick. No. And then once it's posted, if you ask them to find you, you better get ready.
Whole with doing things not on the legal side and just not knowing it till they got too far down the road. So this is a very smart thing, and I know Chris went over that quickly, but I want to mention it's an important part of getting support here and getting good support. Go ahead, Chris.
Also, something just like you can do with Fiverr, where you can search the designers and see what their designs look like. You can do the same thing here. You can take typically the workers on Upwork will upload photos or images or screenshots of their work, so you can see a little bit more about what they're doing prior to you making the hire. So I just, for example, did a search on graphic design. You can see here individuals with specific graphic design experience. For example, here's George. He's a logo designer, $20 an hour. He's in Canada. Another logo designer, $30 an hour in the United States. Here's another one, $25 in Argentina. There's one, $16 an hour. But let's say you want to take a look at what they do. You can click in. You can take a look at their work. There's so much stuff that's on so many individuals that are for hire that it's best to be very specific. If you're looking for graphic design that's very broad, you're going to want to be specific. Are you looking for photography photoshopped? Are you looking for illustration of a logo, whatever you're looking for, type it into the search box, and pretty much Upwork will find somebody that can do that job.
I think, Chris, one of the other important things to mention here that you've got this screen up there that you just had, it shows what software they use to design these things in. And that is also important because you're going to need to take, obviously, the design that you get and move that to either your website, a white paper that you're writing and you want some design in that, a guide. Chris and I do actually on Upworks here. And I was going to mention that if you're a B2B company and you have a nurturing path, a lot of people do guides. And it's also in consumer products as well. We have a client in the fitness industry where we've got a lead gen magnet that we had a guide written, and we can use Upworks to write that guide where we wrote the actual Word doc content, but we could have hired somebody to do that, but we did that. And then we sent it out for graphic creation, and we were able to actually get a very good looking 4-color little booklet that we can send out digitally for a nurture path. And so that's something that you can use that Upworks is really good for doing that. Fiverr, on the other hand, when you're like tool versus tool, we used Fiverr in the past for startup companies that don't have a website, don't have a logo. They've named the company, but they don't really know what the identity is yet. And so we've actually had a contest held on Fiverr where we had 4 to 5 graphic artists produce logos based on a few sentences that we wrote. And then we held an executive meeting with the startup company, and then we voted on which logo to pick. And it actually worked out really well that way. And then from there, we had the website designed by that same graphic artist. So you get that continuity throughout all your product in the startup package. And it was very inexpensive and very fast. So I thought I'd just add that in as you look at these two tools. Fiverr is a really good one if you're just starting from total scratch and you want to build a brand identity. It's a very inexpensive tool to get that done real quick. All right, Chris,
exactly
back to you.
Right. So that's it. That's a little bit of a sneak peek into the tools. As Randy mentioned, typically Fiverr is a company that you're going to start off with some basic, easy one-off projects. Upwork we use for more in-depth software engineering or longer-term projects. And there you go.
Awesome, guys. That was great. That was perfect. Exactly. Talking about exactly who these tools are made for and at what time they should use it. I myself have actually just used Fiverr the other day. Exactly what Randy was talking about. We have this new startup company. They're not sure what they want for a logo. They have a low budget. So you paid 4 different people. You spent a total of $20 and you got 4 different logos. From then they could choose. And then you could go later on if you wanted to and use Upwork for a little bit more high skill projects.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do. So, with that, Chris and I want to thank all you for coming to here. We want to also remind you Marketing Mondays is coming up here in San Diego on the 27th of February. We're going to be doing paid search on that. It's an hour topic. We have a great time. It's parking's free there at Evo Nexus, 101 Broadway. So we invite you to come down to that and get some free education from Chris and I. We have a lot of fun and it's very interactive.
It's free parking, free pizza, and free beer, right?
Cool. Usually there's beer left. Yeah. Sometimes there's free beer. Most of the time. We like to hold up the beer and say, where can you talk about marketing and drink a beer at the same time?
That's right. Wonderful. Oh, that's awesome, guys. Well, you guys definitely don't want to miss out on that. It's Marketing Mondays at Evo Nexus, 101 Broadway. It is February 27th. What time, guys?
It starts at 5:30 for the 5 to 5:30 for the networking. 5:30 we kick off the topic and we end about 6:30. And then Chris and I will usually stick around for a few moments, not too long, to answer some direct questions one-on-one.
All right. Okay, guys. So you heard it here. You're definitely going to want to talk to both Randy and Chris at Marketing Mondays. Ask them any questions that you may want. And again, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Randy and Chris, for being here, taking the time. We love it. And so if you guys have any more questions, want to look at more content, feel free to check out our YouTube page and or our website, startupshowsd.com. Again, Randy, Chris, thank you guys so much.
You're great. All right. We'll see everybody in about 2 weeks for our next Tool versus Tool.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.